everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Welcome everyone to Dr. Carolyn Dean Live here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting humankind with universal love, or as I like to say, uniting the entire world with Dr. Carolyn Dean, which is the most important person for them to know ever, especially right now, because Dr. Carolyn Dean is totally and wholly, completely in charge of your good health. Well, I mean, not really in charge of it, but I mean, she could be if you wanted her to be, in terms of telling you the most perfect and appropriate things to do with your body. And that is use the building blocks, the nutrient building blocks of which we were designed in concert with nature to support and fortify our bodies and to enjoy wonderful health, vitality, and well-being. And of course, that's what she says every week, along with me, Ginny Sanders, your co-host for the next 2 hours. We're always just sharing with people that it's super simple, that you can just use the basic building block nutrients that we like to talk about and fortify your body. And then we always have to go. But on the other hand, what's complicated is our environment. And we do have a little bit going on in the environment because we've got, toxic water, toxic food, toxic air, toxic technology, sometimes toxic relationships that complicate our life and send the wrong signals, which kind of gets us crossways. But then again, I bring you back to Dr. Carolyn Dean, a doctor and a naturopath, and of course, the author of the #1 bestseller, Magnesium Miracle, but so many other things, and a researcher collaborating with people from around the world to bring the very best, most leading edge health information to you, especially related to nutrition and supplementation. And then on top of that, she is her own very perfect work, proving her own theories with her own body and the body of all her friends and family, including me. And she's got some great answers for you. So we invite you to be with us for the next 2 hours here, to listen to her wonderful words of wisdom. Call in and talk with Dr. Dean. She loves to talk to people. Email us through the radio show. Chat with us on YouTube, hang out and enjoy, because you are going to be able to feast your ears on some wonderful information that is going to keep you inspired and hopeful that you will not only be able to achieve, but to exceed the good health that you were expecting to enjoy at any phase of your life, So I want to remind you all that this is not a medical advice show. We're not allowed to do that. The FDA gets very upset, even though personally, if I were going to ask for medical advice, I would probably ask Dr. Dean, but we're not allowed to do that. So what we will do is we will tell you what we would do if we were in your shoes. And sometimes our listeners will tell you what they'd do if they were in your shoes. And sometimes you will figure it out as you just listen to us talk about your very own shoes. And so without further ado, we bring her to you this evening, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Perfect timing, Rachel.
That was perfect.
We got it down.
We did.
Thank you. Well, Ginny, every week you say, you say different words or new words, or it's amazing. You say new fun words every week. This week it's feast your ears. That's wonderful. And yes, that's what we're going to give you, a feast for your ears. And I'm going to dive right into this blog. No extraneous rants. This will be the rant to end all rants, because it's a rant that offers solutions. I get to thinking, a lot of rants, they just sort of negative, tear things up. And we always provide solutions. We really do. So this rant does go along with the blog, and the title of the blog, which you can follow on your email or at drcarolyndeanlive.com. It's right at the top of the homepage. And it's important nutrients for immune support - magnesium. Last week, our topic was pico silver under the banner of important nutrients for your immune support. And it starts out with a recent research paper published February 2021, highlights magnesium's special role in immune support as an assist to vitamin D and much more. And I'll go into more of the paper after I finish with the blog part. But Ginny gives the abstract and a link to the paper. And this paper is very important. This is the paper that you should download, print up, give to everybody that you know. It is that important. So the abstract says, oh, and I should say it's authored by a doctor we've been following, a pharmacology PhD, and his name is James De Nicolo Antonio. I'll have to practice that a bit more. And he's a heart specialist in his pharmacological work, and he's written a number of papers. One paper that Ginny was so excited about a couple of years ago. Ginny, are you there to give the title of that paper? Because I tried to find it at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and it's not on top anymore.
Yeah, let me fix that for you, Carolyn. It should be right there with the subclinical thing. So I will find it for you real quick.
Right. So we'll mention that paper as well, because James was saying that magnesium deficiency is a health emergency. And I don't know how many people listen to him. It's a real frustration for these research doctors to get their information into the doctor's office. And it's a problem that I came across when I was writing the Magnesium Miracle back in the late 90s. I wanted the two top magnesium researchers to give a foreword to the Magnesium Miracle. And it's a husband and wife team, and Burton and Bella Altura. And anybody that I mentioned this to, they say, "Oh no, they're bench researchers. They don't involve themselves with clinical doctors. It's like I would be beneath their purview." But by the time I tracked them down and talked with them, they said, "Oh yes, please, we would love to forward your definitive book on magnesium, because nobody hears our research." At that point, in the late 90s, they'd done about 1,000 papers on magnesium showing the benefits and the clinical benefits, but it never translated into your GP telling you to take magnesium. So that's the problem, this disconnect between research and clinical application. And that's actually what Jenny and I are all about with our magnesium research with Dr. Taylor Wallace. You heard about him in our men's radio show last week, and he did an interview with our social media person, Courtney. He and I did an interview, and Jenny and her team are editing it and breaking it up into small bits. So with our research, we're doing human research, studies on the absorption of magnesium, studies on using the ionized magnesium test. We're trying to make a difference so that the word about magnesium reaches more people. So Dr. Niccolo Antonio is on that same track, and we're in touch with him as well. So the abstract of his February 2021 paper says, magnesium and vitamin D each have the possibility of affecting the immune system and consequently the cytokine storm and coagulation cascade in respiratory and viral infections. Vitamin D is important for reducing the risk of upper respiratory tract infections and plays a role in pulmonary epithelial health. While the importance of vitamin D for a healthy immune system has been known for decades, the benefits of magnesium has only recently been elucidated. Indeed, magnesium is important for activating vitamin D and has a protective role against oxidative stress. And there, the sidebar here is what have I been saying for years, that vitamin D will not be activated unless you have enough magnesium to do that job. And this is one of the few papers that even mentions this. And what I've said in my ebooks and in articles and verbally is that all the studies on vitamin D, even though they're very positive about the immune system, if they don't track magnesium, then they're inaccurate, incomplete. So now we have James' paper here that is opening up the conversation, finally. Continuing the abstract, magnesium deficiency increases endothelial cell susceptibility to oxidative stress, promotes endothelial dysfunction, reduces fibrinolysis, and increases coagulation. Furthermore, magnesium deficient animals and humans have depressed immune responses, which when supplemented with magnesium, a partial or near full reversal of the immunodeficiency occurs. Moreover, intracellular free magnesium levels in natural killer cells and CD8 killer T cells regulates their cytotoxicity. Considering that magnesium and vitamin D are important for immune function and cellular resilience, a deficiency in either may contribute to cytokine storm in the many respiratory infections. And then continuing the blog, unless you've made a specific effort to include daily supplementation in your current health regime, you are more than likely to be magnesium or mineral deficient, as well as vitamin D deficient. Over 80% of Americans are magnesium deficient and 42% reported to be vitamin D deficient. And I think Grassroots Health would say that that number is even higher. Embarking on a daily supplementation plan is exciting and will offer you incremental improvement in every area of your life, including immune support. So what I wanted to go into is a little more about this paper by James Niccolo Antonio and James O'Keefe. O'Keefe is an MD. They're both at St. Luke's Mid-America Heart Institute, Kansas City, Missouri. So all about the heart with them. So of course they would be interested in magnesium, but they're expanding their purview into the immune system. I mean, everything is connected. And this is what our head of research, Dr. Taylor Wallace, has done when we opened his eyes wide to the importance of magnesium. He too started to do research and papers about magnesium deficiency and viral infections. And and speak about the importance. So I've read the abstract. The introduction is interesting, and as I said earlier, click on the link that Ginny gives to this study, this research paper, printed out, showed to everybody. So in the introduction, it catches us up a bit with all the things that my readers and listeners probably already know, but it keeps adding things. The more studies they do, the more they'll add, because as I've said, magnesium is responsible for 80% of known metabolic function, 1,000 different enzyme systems. So it's doing a lot. It's many processes have not even been fully studied. So in the introduction, they're saying approximately half of adults in the United States do not consume the recommended dietary allowance for magnesium. It has been estimated that up to 30% of a given population has subclinical magnesium deficiency based on serum levels, and magnesium deficiency can be as high as 80 to 90% in certain populations when utilizing magnesium load testing. So that's a big mouthful right there. And this is what Taylor Wallace and Ginny and I are starting to prove with our research. And actually, Taylor Wallace, in the recent interview I did with him that you'll hear about within the next couple of weeks, he said the same. He said, with serum magnesium testing, we're not getting any accuracy. And here's Dr. James saying 80 to 90% of certain populations when they use magnesium load testing. Now, that's a very intricate in-hospital test, but if he could be using ionized magnesium testing, he'd probably find the same percentage. Continuing the introduction. Many factors contribute to magnesium deficiency, including diets with refined and processed foods, chronic disease states such as kidney disease, GI disorders and cancer, medications, brackets, diuretics, insulin, protein pump inhibitors, stress, strenuous exercise, and vitamin D deficiency, to name a few. Thus, subclinical magnesium deficiency is relatively common among the general population, and a deficiency in magnesium could impair immune function. This review will cover the potential mechanisms by which magnesium and vitamin D deficiency could drive immune dysregulation, contributing to cytokine storm and ultimately endothelial dysfunction in COVID-19, giving rise to disseminated intravascular coagulation. And that's the killer effect in these serious viral infections. So I tried to edit the paper down a bit to read some of this out to you, but I'll just sort of bang through a few highlights. The next heading says supplementing COVID patients with magnesium and vitamin D may improve outcomes. And there's a Singapore study on 43 consecutive COVID patients. 17 received, get this, 150 milligrams of magnesium. It's like a pinch, and 1,000 IUs of vitamin D3, another pinch. And they were also given vitamin B12, 500 micrograms. And we have our B12 in our Realign. The rest of the patients did not receive any of the supplements. Those who received the supplements had an 87% lower risk for requiring oxygen therapy and for needing intensive care support. And those who did not receive the vitamins and minerals had a 3.5-fold higher rate of needing oxygen, et cetera, et cetera. What else here? Another study, vitamin D insufficiency identified in 84.6% of severe COVID patients in the intensive care unit. And then, from the sublime to the ridiculous, that another study gave 60,000 IUs of vitamin D. I mean, it's either too little or too much. So they were given all this vitamin D, and it does not look like they received magnesium to activate it. But even so, it was given for 14 days to reach a level of 50 nanograms per mil. By day 21, 3 times as many patients in the vitamin D group were SARS-CoV-2 negative versus placebo. And then they went even higher, a single dose of 200,000 units of vitamin D in 240 hospitalized patients with severe COVID 10 days after onset. Their average baseline of vitamin D was insufficient. And despite this, mechanical ventilation was cut in half in the vitamin D group. Then the next header is magnesium deficiency leads to immune dysregulation. And then, as it was mentioned in the abstract, this talks about magnesium regulating natural killer and CD8 T cells, for Pete's sakes. I mean, this is hugely important. I mean, it was the CD4, CD8, and natural killer cells that we were tracking with our AIDS research back in the 80s and 90s. I won't read all the details, but just they're drilling down into the mechanisms of these T cells. And actually, when I first came across chronic fatigue syndrome in the 80s in Toronto, I hooked up with an immunologist, and the patients that came to me, we did their T3, T4, their T counts, and noticed deficiencies in the natural killer cells, CD8, CD4. They talk about magnesium deficiency increases oxidative stress and cytokine storm. I've said many times about magnesium being anti-inflammatory. Well, oxidative stress is pro-inflammatory. What do we say here? I mean, the headline kind of says it all. Magnesium deficiency increasing the susceptibility of tissues to oxidative stress and triggering inflammatory cytokine storms and damage to the blood vessels, and affecting coagulation as well. And then the paper goes into a very good overview of magnesium is required to activate vitamin D, and several large paragraphs about this that I'll leave it to you to click on that link, download that paper, read it, print it up, give it to everyone you know. And then they do go into vitamin D and its importance for immune health, because I'm sure you've heard people say, yes, vitamin D, everybody's low in it. We really need it to protect our immune system. And then other people say, oh, it doesn't do anything. Well, these guys are who've written this paper, they know what they're doing. And they go into the meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials, and they'll give you the definitive information. And their last words of their overview is that furthermore, active vitamin D, which requires magnesium, is needed to boost the expression of antimicrobial peptides, which have numerous antiviral effects. Thus, both vitamin D and magnesium deficiency likely contribute to persistent inflammation independently, and they work together as magnesium is needed to activate vitamin D. Very short conclusion that says magnesium and vitamin D supplementation should be considered in the general population with special consideration during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there you have it. I mean, what more can we say, Jenny?
I think that pretty much sums it up. Oh dear.
There you're
No,
here.
there we are. I'm here. I really do think that sums it up in a beautiful way. And if people, at this point can't really yield to that, I don't know what to say. I mean, what we've got going on is not working. What they're recommending through, the big engines of pharmaceutical companies. I mean, it's just not working. And there's nothing but evidence that we've lived on the face of the earth all these years without these problems. And it wasn't until recently that we got poison food and toxic environments that we started having all these health issues. So
yeah, right. And isn't the definition of insanity, continuing to do the same thing, even though it didn't work in the first place? There's a better way of saying that, but we're just continuing to do, the more drugs, more vaccines, and not looking for any alternatives. And I mean, we have to say over and over again that doctors didn't learn about nutrition or nutrients in medical school, so they ignore it. They do not think it's important. And that's why we're doing the research and trying to get that information out there, as well as, working with our customer base. We're not content to just, send out our blogs and tell people to buy our stuff. We want people to know what's going on, and the importance of having a magnesium like Remag that is fully absorbed at the cellular level, because it's a stabilized ion of magnesium and it does not cause a laxative effect. That is what truly helps people, because if you get the laxative effect when you take a small amount of magnesium, which is what happened to me, you're not going to be able to ever saturate your body with magnesium.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just that simple. And I think the other thing that I saw when I listened to your interview with Taylor is how much, bad nutrition or yeast overgrowth or magnesium deficiency is at the root of this pandemic. I mean, it's just incredible. It's just
right.
incredible.
Yeah. We reached the kind of the pinnacle of the perfect storm. And I've said that many times, but yes, Ginny was quite taken with the fact that Taylor, who is a food scientist, who's written a diabetic recipe book called Sizzling Science. He wants it to be about food and eating good food, etc. And he even said on our interview that he's come to the conclusion that people just can't get their nutrients from food anymore. You have to have supplements. And he's very happy to be involved with nutrients that are so well absorbed that it can make a difference. So yeah, we're pretty. What are we pumped up about this, Ginny? Is that what we say?
Yeah, I think we're pretty pumped up because it definitely gets us excited to know not only are we on the right track, but we've been on the right track for a long time. And people who've been working with our formulas for many, many years are fortified uniquely in their bodies in a way that they probably weren't anticipating that they were fortified. And I remember thinking that so clearly when the pandemic first started last year, and you ended up talking about magnesium and the role of magnesium in GTPase and how it protects the RNA viruses from even getting access to the DNA within the cells, because it acts as a protective. That magnesium is the enzyme. GTPase work together to protect the outside of the cell and create that barrier. And that night you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, anybody who's floating in a big pool of Remag like we all are, it's not going to have an issue with this virus. And they simply did not. I mean, so few of our customers have even had any problems with it. So it's exciting to me because, we've been at it so long, we've been telling people for so many years, but the evidence is just cascading in. And, it's just going to fortify more people and hopefully, like you said, print it off and share it with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, because it's, for some reason, this isn't going to stop.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, for some reason, this isn't going to stop because, every time we think things are slowing down, then some area in the world will say, oh, we've got a new variant and everybody's dying again. Now, we don't even know if those are true words or if the variant is as they say, but the first headlines are always going to be, the fear-based headlines. And then everybody, starts masking up again. And we don't want to say too many more words because it'll get us in trouble. But I think Jenny, she used the phrase early on is we wear our masks inside. We mask ourselves, as you were saying, Jenny, with magnesium. Our cells are healthy and strong. So that's what we depend on.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just incredible. So I just feel really strongly that, again, to share this information, to know that you're on the right track. Again, what we've said a million times on the radio show, and if this is the first time for Bev or for Avis or some of the new people that are joining us tonight that are on the chat line here on YouTube, if you have not joined us before, Dr. Dean provides to our radio show audience a $212 value that she pays for. It is not free to her, but she will cover the $212 of testing media that you would require to participate in the Grassroots Health home test. And that test is for your omegas, your thyroid, where your T3 is, and your T4.
No, sorry, honey. It's just the TSH.
TSH, then your magnesium level and your vitamin D level. And from there, you can make the adjustments that you need and use the supplementation protocol that she recommends. And in 6 months later, you can test your levels again and see your improvement, which everyone improves. Which is so much fun. So if you don't know, I was at a event the other night, Carolyn, and I was doing a presentation to people in person. And I said to the group of people, I said, okay, just pointed to a lady randomly. And I said, what are the last 4 digits of your social security number? And she told me, and I pointed to another gentleman and I said, what's your date of birth? And he told me, and I said, and okay, and to you, sir, what's your vitamin D score? Yeah. And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, it's the most important number you could know right now, because if you don't know what that level is, you are at risk of not having a sufficient amount to protect you in the middle of what we're going through. So we really just want people, get your vitamin D, your magnesium, your omegas, get your test results, stay on top of your levels, adjust your supplementation to make sure that you're going to meet your body's needs, and do it daily.
Very good. Awesome. So you've gone over the testing. We want you to refer your practitioner to us. We'd like you to join our subscription service so you don't run out of your formulas. We want you to get ahead of the supply chain by ordering ahead because we don't know what's going to happen. We're pretty well stocked, but it's just a question of getting the orders to you. But I think, Ginny, everyone's kind of on high alert about that. And I know you're working on shipping issues. Are people finding solutions?
Yeah, I think, the main issues are for people who are relying on products that are coming from outside the United States. People, the stuff that's sitting in the boats that are coming from other countries. In our situation here in the United States, our products are made here and distributed here. And so we're not having the same problems. Now, there are going to be logistical issues over the holiday, as always. But this year it should be better than last year. So, and I think the way they're managing it this year is a lot more, it's much more proactive, much more proactive.
Good to hear. And the other thing for the new listeners and our standard listeners, I'm not going to say old because I don't like that word. We're always putting up new versions of the 23 free ebooks at drcarolyndeanlive.com. So if you have one of the books already, look at the version number you have, compare it with what's on the website, and keep up to date that way. So I'm good to go to the phones or chat or go through dozens and dozens of testimonials that we have that we can share.
Well, we've got phone callers holding. So if you did want to talk to Dr. Dean tonight, you've got to call into the Zoom call, which is 646-558-8657. Now you can also Zoom into the Zoom call. If you want to use your computer, you do not have to be on camera. So if you want to Zoom in, I can post that ID for you. And then the ID 8836953587. And that's on our YouTube channel and all over the place and on our emails. And everybody kind of figures out how to get in here. So we'll trust that you'll be able to do that too. If you have questions, you can post them here on YouTube and I will ask Dr. Dean about that. Terry is asking, what about D3K2? It should be back in stock in about a week. It's not a problem about that. So it is sold out, but it'll be right back. So hang in there on that one. And then let's ask some other questions. A friend of mine has kidney failure and just started dialysis. Is it too late to start magnesium protocol? I would like to recommend Remag, but can interfere with dialysis and other medications.
Well, it is such a big question because people with kidney problems are told to avoid magnesium, and they're all magnesium deficient. As one of our customers who's a dialysis patient and a health provider herself, she says everybody in the dialysis suite is twitching and, moving their restless legs and having heart palpitations because they're magnesium deficient. So what I did is I wrote a whole section in the Magnesium Miracle about the kidneys and how to approach it. And yes, taking Remag because it'll go right into the cells. It doesn't build up in the blood because it has somewhere to go. You can actually go to customer service support at rnareset.com and ask for the kidney handout. I won't even make you buy the book to read that section, so you can get the kidney handout and share that with your friend.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Very good. And then Bev Kelly said, I buy all your supplements and they are awesome. And so thank you, Bev, for saying that. That's very sweet. And we're glad you do, because that way we can make sure another person's going to be A-okay. And then Avis wants to ask Carolyn a question. She said, it is my first time here, but your book saved me years ago. And so Avis, if you want to call in, you can, or you can just post the question right here in the chat line. And again, 646-558-8657 is the number. and then you have to type in the ID 8836953587. But as usual, Deborah, our station owner, is here with us this evening, as she always is. And she's the yellow highlighted statement here that says opportunity to talk with Dr. Dean tonight. And so she always posts the ID and the phone number. So you can always got that. It's right here, right here. Okay, so let's take a phone call or two, Carolyn, and then we'll go to your testimonials and let the rest of the evening roll out as it shall. Let's go to area code. Let's see, where are we here? 910. If you want to hit *6 on your phone or respond to the blue button, either one. 911, area code 910. There you go. Hello, hello.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, good. Are you in Hawaii?
No, I'm in North Carolina.
But your area code shows Hawaii, but North Carolina, then you're with Ginny. So what's your first name?
Brad Freeman.
Bradfrey?
No, Brad Freeman. Hi, Brad. It's been a long time
Brad.
since we heard from you. How have you been?
Yeah.
Right.
I've been a little better, but to be honest, that's what, I'm calling in because, like, I can't get through it. Like, I can't get rid of the muscle twitching. And, like, today I had lifted something heavy and I got, like, a PVC on my heart, like, do the pausing sensation. And then, like, after that, if I take deep breaths, it'll pause. And I don't really know, I know my vitamin D is still low, but everything else is, up to par or saturated.
Right. How much vitamin D are you taking, Brad?
I just take 5,000.
So maybe you need more. I know I had to go up to 10, and then I'm taking 15,000 now because I think what's happening with vitamin D, it's really being like chewed up by the stress we're under, and maybe we'll know as the science picks up and starts studying this stuff. But that's why we want you to get your vitamin D level. Have you gotten your vitamin D test lately?
Oh, well, the last time I got it, it was 26, I think, 27 to 26. It was one of them.
Yeah. So that's pretty low. We want you to be up at like 60. And how much Remag are you taking?
Like 2 capsules, 2.5.
Yeah.
I don't really measure as far as like, milligram wise. I just do capsules.
Right. Well, you might need more. I mean, that's what you've heard us. If you've listened to the show, that's what we say to people who if you're still having what we think is magnesium deficiency symptoms or potassium, you have to be sure to be taking your potassium. Then it just means you're not taking enough. Are you talking to anyone at customer service, Brad?
I have in the past, but
Right.
not lately.
Yeah, when you go through I guess you'd say a bit of a relapse, you got to call in again and get reinforced about what you should be taking or what you've done, because it just discourages you when you think, well, I'm doing all this and I'm not getting better. But then we'll just say to you, well, you haven't been doing it long enough and you're not taking enough, and you could be better. It's just going to take some more time, right? I mean, do you think I'm on the right track telling you that?
Oh yeah, I've gotten better as far as like the stress. Like I can handle it a little better because I kind of know what's going on. But like I say, it's still happening. So
Brad, when you called the show back in June, I remember Carolyn talked to you about taking potassium, and I think I even sent you a bottle. Did you get the potassium? Did you take it? What did you notice?
Yeah, I took the potassium. Pretty much the same. The same. Only thing. I mean, I definitely gotten better. I will say that. but like, cause it's not as intense. Like they're not as strong as they used to be. Like far as taking my breath away when they happen, but it's still, you know, then the stress and anxiety just shoot through the roof because it's like I'm thinking I'm doing everything right, and I've been on it for a while, and it still continue to happen. It's like I don't know if it's. Do you think it may be like a detox or something that's clogged up, like a liver, or that
No,
doesn't have it?
no, you're just not taking enough for long enough. It took me a year and a half to get rid of my heart palpitations for good. How long have you been on the products?
Well, I've been on it. It's been I think a little over 2 years.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah,
I
I
start,
mean that. Mm-hmm.
no, I was saying I started towards the end of 2019.
Yeah. I
But then
mean,
like,
that sounds like enough time, but it may just be that you're not on enough. I had to take 4 teaspoons for a year and a half, and that's what got me through it. So, but the other thing is too, I mean, if you have concerns, are you seeing a doctor to get tests or, get checked out as well to make sure that, I mean, we can't be your doctor here, so we want to make sure you're not missing anything.
well, it's been a while since I've been like, cause I was going to like before I knew what was going on. I went to the
Uh-huh.
emergency room maybe 12, 13 times, like in 2019, and they were saying
Mm-hmm.
everything. Blood test is good. Then I had an echocardiogram. You know, every
Mm-hmm.
time I get EK, they keep saying it's normal. And the last time I went, I think was like in March or May. I can't remember, but it was early in the year, and they was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's normal. Like everybody have them. Some people just more symptomatic, and they was like, we
Mm.
try to put you on propanol or something like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I thought that can slow your heart rate down too much. And he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, it can. So I didn't want it. And then he
Mhm.
was like, do you want to take anxiety medication? I said no. So it basically just forced to live with it. So I kind of been trying to do research on my own because like the doctors ain't really giving me answers. They saying it's normal, it's benign. So I just kind
Mhm.
of feel like it's pointless, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, and this is what we hear all the time from our customers, and that's why customer service, we encourage people to call in because, I mean, look at what you just said. In 2019, a dozen times to the ER, and in 2021, you only went once, or did you go more than that?
Well, I went to the emergency room was in 2019. I actually went to the doctor earlier this year, and he
Just as
was
a
saying
doctor,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Right. But look at what
everything,
I'm,
you know.
what I'm trying to get at here is you're not running to the emergency room all the time with your symptoms because you've got a bit of a handle on it. But, from what I'm hearing, what you're saying to me is maybe you're about, 50 to 60% better, but you're not 100% better. And every time you have a little bit of a relapse, it just brings it all back, the anxiety and everything. I mean, you need to be on a regular schedule with us where you call up one of our people every week or every 2 weeks. I mean, we've done that with many of our customers where you just need that support to ask the questions and gets get rid of some of the anxiety. Some people, they'll take my heart health book and they'll read that again and they'll read over and realize, okay, yeah, I get freaked out. Because the worst thing uh, for anxiety is some sort of heart symptoms. It's the worst thing. And I write about that in the heart health book. You have these symptoms, you go to the doctor, they act like it's all in your head, by saying, well, it's your anxiety, take some anxiety medication, and they won't listen to you like, well, look, my heart, there's something wrong with my heart. So, we know all that, but what we can do is reassure you. You said the magnesium and the potassium are helping, keep your anxiety down. But now we gotta probably take some more of the minerals to get at the last 40%. What do you say?
Yeah, that sounds right. You know, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
So
Right. And I mean, if there's a customer service person that you've worked with before, seriously, you can email into support@rnareset.com and say, I'd like to talk to so-and-so, this week, every once a week or once every 2 weeks, just to, kind of, we got your back type of thing. Because there's nobody medically, there's nobody who's got your back, is what you're saying. And, we want to be able to be there for you.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I would definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got one thing though on the vitamin D.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's what I'm. I was told I shouldn't take powder form. It should be like a soft gel with coconut oil or avocado oil or olive oil for absorption. And I'm asking, is that
right? I have not found that. The work we're doing with Grassroots Health about vitamin D and absorption, they're studying that, in their questionnaires and everything. They're asking people if they take it on an empty stomach or with food. And I'll ask Ginny to come in and see what she's found with the customers. But we have not found that people have to take it with fat or an oil. Now, I don't know if it's because a lot of our patients are on a keto diet, so they're getting a lot of fat anyway. But, what you're saying is because vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, they say it's better absorbed if you take it with fat. And I don't think that's totally necessary. What do you think, Ginny?
No, I think the bigger controversy about vitamin D is you've got to take it daily and you have to take it with magnesium. And that's what a lot of doctors don't focus on. And they focus on soft gels and caps and everything because they think it's absorption, but it's not absorption, it's activation. And the way that it gets properly activated is with magnesium. So it's unfortunate that a lot of, clinical doctors in emergency rooms and stuff like that, they really don't understand the mechanisms of vitamin D. They're mostly used to thinking it as cancer prevention and not necessarily a daily kind of a thing. So they have a tendency to just throw 50,000 milligrams at it and kind of call it a day. But our recommended way to do it is with magnesium on a daily basis. It can be a powder form. It could be a soft gel if you want. You take all the soft gels in the world, and if you're not taking D with it, it's not going to do you magnesium with it. It's not going to do you any good.
Yeah, good. That sounds good, Ginny. Because it's like doctors are recognizing that vitamin D isn't that well absorbed and this and that, and they don't realize that what's holding it back is the lack of magnesium. So when you increase your vitamin D, you need another half teaspoon of Remag. So, maybe that's where you started to get your symptoms back, is some of that magnesium you're taking is going to helping activate your vitamin D, and it's not helping your heart. So you got to go up to 3 teaspoons and get an actual teaspoon measure and make sure you're getting, what you're supposed to be getting.
Yeah, Brad, in the next couple, next week or something, we'll have our Black Friday sale and the products will be really, well discounted. And I think you should stock up and make sure you get your Remag, your Remite, your vitamin D. It should be back in stock by then. And then for sure get potassium, because potassium seems to be something that really helps a lot of people with these, heart palpitation situations, really, really. So
and anxiety.
Yeah, and anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Brad.
Does vitamin D have anything to do with the PVCs or no? And muscle twitching, like being deficient? Or that wouldn't really have anything to do with it?
I don't know. I mean, I think you could Google and find people who say, yeah, it can, but it's not the primary symptom. In fact, with vitamin D deficiency, I don't it doesn't come to my mind immediately what are the symptoms, because it's vitamin D works throughout the body, and I think when you take vitamin D, it supports everything. So besides causing rickets, because vitamin D mostly is supposed to help the absorption of calcium, and calcium goes to the bones, and if you don't have enough calcium, then your bones weaken. So that's where they have focused on vitamin D, and forgetting all the rest of it. But I mean, why we say to get your vitamin D level up is because it can have an effect throughout the body. You can't look at these things, Brad, as if they're a medicine for one particular thing. We're trying to get your body saturated with all these nutrients so everything can be supported.
Yeah, and a good clue to what we were talking about earlier in the radio show. James DiNicolantonio is a cardiac researcher. He works for a cardiac hospital. So they're trying to understand the mechanism of magnesium and vitamin D and circulation and blood and clotting and cytokine storms and respiration and the heart. I mean, the hip bone talks to the tailbone. So like Carolyn says, it's all connected. So
right.
It's all going to be beneficial.
I just looked up vitamin D deficiency symptoms, and they say bone pain, and they say muscle weakness, fatigue, cardiovascular disease, and asthma. So it's all over the place. But bones and muscles, the muscle, they don't say twitches, they say muscle weakness. So that's interesting. And I know I've written about this, but it's just, it flies in one ear and out the other, because it doesn't really make sense. I don't know the mechanisms. And that's also because we haven't really studied these nutrients fully.
Yeah.
You good for now, Brad?
Yeah, I'm good for now. I'm gonna go ahead and add some remag now as we speak, and go ahead and drink it.
You go drink your remag.
Very good. Very
okay,
good.
Thanks for calling in, Brad. Good call.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Very good. I know whenever we get on a roll, Carolyn, it makes me want to go take some more remag too. And I've already got some in my water. Let's see. Sonia says, thank you very much for the information about the kidneys. She's going to talk with customer service and get that handout. So very good. And Patrick Babick wanted to ask if it's okay to add Pico Silver to dog's water every day, just as a prevention for yeast.
I don't know. What would you say? You're the doggy owner, lover.
I don't do it. Yeah, I don't do it every day. I don't think it's necessary every day. And he's got a really small dog. She's a little teeny tiny prima donna doggy. So I don't think it's necessary every single day. I just do it once or twice a week. Patrick, that should be enough.
Right.
I'm gonna say.
All righty, we're going to take a break and come back next hour, and we will be back with hour 2 right after this.
Yahoo!
We'll be back with hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. A special love shout out to all of our regular listeners, including Nancy, who's here with us as per usual. Carolyn, I was thinking the other day, we have done this show for 10 years. Carolyn. 10 years.
And it only feels like 20.
No, it doesn't feel like 20, but it sure feels like it's been a lot of fun. And
Well, every time you say, join us for our 2-hour show, I think we're doing 2 hours. It just, flips by so fast.
yeah, it really, really does. It's so fun. And I think we have such a great audience. I think Nancy has been listening with us probably for that whole time. I mean, she's been with us forever. And I know A lot of our Canadian listeners have been with us for a long time. It's just really fun. I know Deb West was listening earlier. She's been with us for a long time. It's just fun to have such a great audience and to have such great participation, and for people who are so interested and passionate about this process and sharing it with their friends and family, and it's very gratifying. So anyway.
Well, Bob has said that some people say to him, I guess they don't want to say it directly to me, that they don't listen because people are complaining too much, or there's too many negative things, or they don't want to hear about sick people or whatever. But I mean, I don't find that. People listen for the positive bits that will help them, and when we get someone who has a problem, we troubleshoot it and get answers. I think it's a very positive show.
Yeah, I do too. And the reality is that there's a lot of people that are struggling with their health right now, and they don't understand why. And I think you're one of the few naturopathic doctors and regular allopathic doctors, anybody who really actually talks about why, and being the environment that we're living in. It's not, there's really nothing quote unquote wrong with our bodies. In fact, what's going on is our bodies are right. They are responding to all the environmental challenges, and they're still balancing themselves. But those imbalances cause obesity, which is again a form of balance, cardiovascular issues, still a form of balance, gut issues where the body's trying to, respond and protect the heart and the brain, joint issues where, you said, Carolyn, the body pushes stuff out away from the heart and the brain into the bones and the joints of the body. The body is doing its darn best to, cope with all the stuff that's being thrown at it. And that's why we feel so strongly that if you boost it and give it the best you can with the assets that we've got, it's the least we can do.
Yeah, and Brad brought up so many good points, because I'm looking for the part in Heart Health book where I say with heart arrhythmias, it's what propels people to the doctor more than any other condition. Here's the words. I'm convinced that Afib is a condition that sends people to the ER more than any other. I've had clients who've gone to the ER dozens of times only to be sent home with a half a dozen drugs and told they must live with their Afib. The anxiety and panic that sets in when their heart beats, quote, like a small animal in the chest, unquote, as one of my clients described, makes a person feel that they are about to die. Who knows how much magnesium is lost during one of these ER visits alone, and how much is lost during an Afib attack. So that's going on. And then, we have people like this 68-year-old female client of mine was treated by several doctors who displayed horrible bedside manner. One of them said, my family doctor said my EKG was abnormal and showed an arrhythmia. He sent me to the doctor from hell, who just told me outright that the bad news was that I would have to be on blood thinners for life. He even knew blood thinners were bad news. I said I wouldn't take them, and that I'd done some research on heart arrhythmias and read that a catheter ablation procedure would be my best chance for a cure and a way to avoid blood thinners. He screamed at me that there is no cure for Afib, and reminded me that he was the doctor. By the time I got out of his office, I thought I was going to stroke out in the parking lot. And for all that abuse in the space of 10 minutes, he billed my insurance $600. So that's what people are going through. I never went back to him, but the visit just made my Afib much worse. I was scared, so I did a lot of research and found another cardiologist. And he looked at the EKGs and said the first cardiologist made a mistake, and I had no signs of Afib. He said I did have PACs, premature atrial contractions. And then he became a fortune teller and told me I would develop Afib down the road. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And a reader of my blog sent me the following case history of how she developed Afib, but the doctors would never admit that her medications were the cause. On and on and on. I mean, it's, yeah. So we know, I mean, when Brad says, I feel horrible, and, I know he doesn't want to phone in and just complain, but he's in a situation when your heart is doing weird things and people just kind of dismiss him or want to put him on drugs that aren't going to cure the problem. And it does take a while for the body to get saturated. And like I said, if he started vitamin D in the middle of this and did not increase his Remag, then his magnesium deficiency symptoms might jump up again. So it's all part of what we're trying to kind of teach people. So that's all in my heart health book. So people should really read that again. So there. You're so funny. So there. Elma said, our wonderful Alma from Kuwait said, I want to say that Dr. Dean helped me and my family regarding our health. And without your products, I do not know where we would be now. Elma, she says, that's why I want to say thank you, Dr. Dean, for your products. You saved us. She's so sweet. I love her. It's 3:00 in the morning. She comes every Monday. Yes. And then she says she's always got hearts everywhere. She's such a sweetheart. And then William Gunther said, consistency is the key to success. Find what works and keep doing it. So that's right, when we were talking about daily dosing. Terry Rissmiller is typing in, my daughter is facing having to take the jab or lose her job. Any protocol to help fight off the effects of the vaccine? And Alan typed in, try for a religious exemption. And Terry said they don't have to accept a religious exemption. And she said, you can try, you just might get it. And she said she was just told this last week, doesn't have much time. What state is she in, Terry? Because Frontline Doctors Legal Department has great content to share with an employer if she's really concerned about that. I've had a situation with a friend here who she works from home for the government, and they were all told a few months ago that by December they all had to get vaccine, in home or not, just everybody. They're, they don't want to be bothered, individualizing. That's part of what it is. They don't want to be bothered looking at exemptions. They'll just, no, everybody has to get it. So all of a sudden, out of the blue, they say to her just today, since you are in the Hawaii region, you are not under the mandate and do not need to proceed any further. Your form does not need to be reviewed, because she put in her exemption form. So I read that as, they're starting to, walk it back a bit. They're starting to say, okay, you don't have to do it. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like the more people push, the more they have to respond and do something. Well, the more employers are being sued. This is the key. And I think people don't, really understand, but it's worth, repeating again, is that the vaccine companies are protected from any judicial behavior because they are exempt from lawsuits because it's a vaccine. And the government is exempt from lawsuits unless it's by the state. But employers are eligible to be sued. And now what's happening is these companies that are mandating these, the employees are turning around and suing their employer. And you see, they can be held responsible financially for people's income.
Right now, the United Airline pilots are organizing a huge lawsuit. The more these guys get sued, the more they're going to stop. And then they're going to be like, oh, well, it's a good, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, did we forget to tell you, you don't have to get your vaccine. They'll act like they never pushed for it.
Yep.
And I've often said to people, look, just get a legal letter and make somebody sign it, the doctor who's jabbing you, or in this case, your company, make them sign it to say that if you have any side effects, that they're liable for $1 million lawsuit.
Yeah.
And put that in writing.
Yeah. There's a lot of wonkiness. She's saying she works for a federal contractor in Pennsylvania, and we definitely are not lawyers. But the federal circuit court has a suspension in effect, which applies nationally. So in this very moment right now, she is not required to do it, regardless of what they're saying. And if she feels strongly about it, where there's a will, there is a way. Now, if you're trying to petition for her and she doesn't feel as strong and she's indifferent, energetically, it's probably not going to be as successful, because you really have to fight that fight. Every single person on the face of the earth is in a contest for themselves right now. So, you can't, that's my own personal belief. That's from being a spiritual leader. You have to take that stand for yourself. If she's willing to take a stand for herself, she will find a way.
Yeah. Yep. I agree entirely. There are more words to be said there, but that's enough. That's perfect words.
We can leave it there. So Patrick Babbitt said, I'm making a whipped cream with frozen berries and adding D3K2 pills and restructure to it. Say hi to Dr. Dean for me.
Good for you. I've transitioned to just using chocolate restructure. It is awesome with the whipped cream and berries.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good. Chocolate. Yes, that would be like a chocolate dipped strawberry or chocolate raspberry. Wow.
Yeah. I'm totally addicted to it. But anyway, let's move on from my addictions.
Okay. Yeah, we can't focus on Dr. Dean's addictions. That's very good. Well, thanks everybody for supporting one another, and we'll keep figuring this out. We're all in this together and we will figure it out. So we've got callers holding. Again, if you want to talk to Dr. Dean, you've got all the numbers, and Deborah's put them here on the station. Let's go to area code 434, Carolyn, shall we? Area code 434, and you can hit *6 to unmute your phone, or the little blue button, either one. There you are. Hello, welcome. Hello?
Bob, are you on the line or something?
No.
Okay, good. Bob's talking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is Sherry in Virginia. I wanted to say that the Remag is, I've finally figured out how much I need to be regulated every day, and that's really great to not have to take the magnesium calm, which I didn't like drinking. I take a tablespoon of it, and I take 12,500 of the vitamin D. I take 2 of your DK2, D3K2, and 1 of it's Country Life vitamin D3, just to get some extra D, and not knowing if I would be taking too much K2 if I took 3 of those tablets.
Right, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And I like the way that you're fine tuning it for yourself. That's what's important.
Yeah, I thought maybe I needed a little more D. Okay, well, I was wondering if I needed to go up in D, would I then need to also increase my magnesium from a tablespoon?
It's possible, Sherry. And I think your body at this point would tell you, you might get a bit, constipated again, or have some deficiency symptoms. But like I said to Brad, I think for every extra couple of thousand units of D, you probably need another half teaspoon of Remag.
Okay. Yeah, because as I said, it does keep me regulated where I am. For a while I took like another teaspoon, but it became too much, so I backed off and just make a full tablespoon. I also wanted to ask you, I heard you mention something about when you snort the silver, which I've started doing, sometimes it makes your nose hurt. What is the reason for that, or can you do it differently so it doesn't make that sting?
Well, my Pico Silver does not make my mucous membrane sting. What it sometimes does is I feel it in my head as a little bit of brain freeze.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is. It's not a sting. It's that brain freeze pain.
Right. And what that is, it's getting, I think it's getting at the sinuses. It's going very deep, which I think is a good sign. I've gotten that feeling when I've done the neti pot, and I don't have enough saline, or the formula is a bit off. But I mean, with the Pico Silver, it's kind of instantaneous, and I don't really mind it. I kind of think, Sherry, it's like maybe I don't need so much. It's like getting deep enough, and then I won't do it for a day or so. But if I have a lot of mucus, then I never get that brain freeze. So I think so that's how I rationalize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to share something. I've gone through one bag of the protein powder, and I have another one I'm working on. But what my husband and I discovered is if you put a half of an avocado in each serving, it keeps the protein from breaking down when it's in liquid form. It keeps it from separating is what I'm looking for.
Right.
And it's really, half of an avocado per serving.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you blend it up. You're blending it up, obviously, then in a blender or mixer.
Yes. It's a blender.
Because otherwise, with just water, you have to keep shaking it up.
It separates. And then the other thing, sometimes in my first one of the day, I'll put a half a cup of decaf in with the avocado, and that's good too. I just wanted to
Yes, I can't believe the variations that people come up with, and we've got them listed somewhere, don't we, Ginny? All the recipes, the restructure recipes. She'll come in a second.
Okay, and when Ginny comes back on, I wouldn't mind having the Zoom address. Now, will that let us at home see you guys or not?
Well, it's a great question, because Ginny was just, I think she was on one knee begging me to do video of our radio shows in the new year. So it looks like we're going to do that. So I'll have to wash my hair on Mondays now. So yes, we'll be doing, it looks like we'll be doing video. I have to get, anyway.
Okay.
I can give you the Zoom. It's no problem. And you can join us on Zoom. And then you won't see us on a static screen. It's still static until we go live. And then you'll be able to see us live and in person on YouTube or on Zoom. So yes, I can definitely share it with you.
Okay, great. And I did go through Melody Rose and make the request of Dr. Dean to put the Pico Silva in the 16 ounce, because I go through it so much with, I put a tablespoon a day in my water and then now snorting it. So Yeah, so if you were of a mind to increase the size of that bottle, that would be great.
Yeah,
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're that's our next order. So in the new year, first of the new year, we'll get out the 16-ounce Pico Silver for you, just for you, Sherry.
Okay. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Thanks for your call, hon. Bye-bye.
Bye, love. Yeah, that will be fun to do the radio show live. We'll have to see how it goes, but I think it'll be a good time. I really do. I really do. Okay, so let's see, what else are we going to do here? If you've want to talk to Dr. Dean and you're on the phone, you've got to hit *9. *9 will raise your hand here in the studio and let me know you have a question or comment. Otherwise, your line will remain on mute and we won't know that you want to chitty chat with Dr. Dean. And until somebody hits *9 and we've got another caller, we're probably going to do testimonials and case studies, right, Carolyn?
Right. Okay, good. Righty. Michael says, your company is the best I've ever dealt with. Ginny's crew is fantastic. I've been on your products for 10 years now. They have been lifesavers. Thanks for everything. That's sweet. And this is Eric. Oh, he's a doctor. He says, I'm a loyal customer whose health has been dramatically improved by Dr. Dean's Total Body Reset and Magnesium Protocol. My Afib, which has plagued me since 2006, over 13 years, seems to be on its way out. As of today, I just finished 1 full month without Afib episodes. That's the longest period free of them in over a year. Thank you for a great experience, which has changed my life. Please thank Dr. Dean personally as I continue to speed toward my 2nd month of being free of Afib. All because...
You go ahead, Carolyn, sorry. All because?
Because I found her ebook on Afib on the internet. So that's cool. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, we read these Afib testimonials every week, but I'm telling you, unless you've had it, you don't really know what it means to be free of Afib. It's a wonder of, I mean, most cardiovascular doctors don't even know how to get you there. All they do is do what they tell our friend in the first hour, which is, yeah, people get it. It's not serious. Don't worry about it. In the meantime, your heart's about ready to explode out of your chest. You feel like the ground's going to swallow you up. It's nuts.
Well, I mean, there are varieties of arrhythmias. And what happened with the Afib one is when they created new blood thinners, not just the Coumadins, but when they created the new blood thinners, they thought, we have something for Afib now. And they began to, I think, overdiagnose Afib. And they scare people because they say, well, if you have Afib, you can develop a blood clot in the heart that can go to the brain and then you die. So when they have that hammer hanging over your head, you panic, you get anxiety and you accept the medications. But then you have, people like this doctor who say, well, now I'm without episodes. And when you're not experiencing Afib, then you should not be on anticoagulants. So that's our focus, is to get you Afib free, and then you don't have to be on the medication.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Next one, John says, Remite and Remag are both recommended by my doctor and have been helping me get the trace elements I need and keep my blood pressure in check. Awesome. Another one, James says, I'm an Afib sufferer for 10 years, had a catheter ablation 8 years ago, which failed, was getting Afib almost every day, lasting up to 2 to 3 days. Started Remag in May with Himalayan salt, and for a start, it helped, but still had the Afib. But now, by the end of September, it's almost gone. The odd time is only 100 to 108 beats per minute, lasts very short time. I'm so pleased. I sleep so much better also. it is just wonderful. I'm on 3 teaspoons daily, but may be able to cut back soon after a blood test. So the thing is, I mean, that person, hopefully our customer service told him, well, make sure you get your pico potassium as well, and your remite, because it's not all about the sodium in the Himalayan salt or the magnesium. The potassium is also involved, and other minerals. So we try to not make it all about magnesium. Richard says, I developed heart irregularities in my late 20s, which have steadily worsened over time. The symptoms include tachycardia, Afib, and palpitations. Episodes are unpredictable and can last from minutes to days. My cardiologist suggested beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, and finally cardio ablation as possible treatments. My own research eventually led me to the benefits of magnesium with both rate and rhythm issues. What if my problems were due to a mineral imbalance? Could it be that simple? More research led me to the RNA reset, and I've been taking both the magnesium and electrolyte supplements for 8 weeks. After 3 weeks, I experienced a significant reduction in all symptoms and currently have days with no symptoms. All this without medication or surgery. Rather, I am giving my body what it needs to run things properly! Exclamation. It sounds too good to be true, I know, but this has been my experience. I have my life back and I'm trusting my body again. So, I mean, that says so many aspects of what we're trying to get across. People say, could it be that simple? It sounds, I mean, compared to a doctor telling you have to be on 6 medications for the rest of your life to taking some liquid minerals. The doctors poo-poo it, that's for sure. And then after 3 weeks, no symptoms. And he says it sounds too good to be true. So that's another kind of meme that people have in their heads because they've been told it's so serious. And it is. I mean, it is serious, having your heart be out of rhythm. But he has his life back and is trusting his body again, because allopathic medicine makes you mistrust your body. It's like, why did it give you these symptoms? You know, what bad thing did you do? And the doctor will never say, well, the bad thing you did was not take magnesium. And that's it. And we say that. What if it's not a heart rhythm diagnosis? What if the diagnosis is magnesium deficiency?
Yep. We've got a call, Carolyn. Let's take that call. Are you ready? Yep.
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go to area code 954. 954. If you could hit *6 on your phone, we'll put you on the line with Dr. Dean. 954. 954 *6, or the blue button on your screen. Either one, whatever works for you. There we go. Hello, love.
Oh, sorry. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Okay, what's your first name and what's your question?
My first name is Avis.
Avis.
And yeah, I'm Avis Hickson, and I'm not taking your products yet, but I want to look into getting some because I first found out about your book around 2003. I was having palpitations. I was having restless leg syndrome. My arm went numb. I was having these crazy symptoms. Back and forth. It reminded me of the guy that called in earlier. Back and forth to the emergency room. They give me medications. I started doing some research. I came across your book, Dr. Dean. You saved me because I refused to take the medications they gave me. So I don't know if you had Remag out back then, but I tried magnesium taurate and it didn't really sit well with me. I tried magnesium glycinate and it made a heck of a difference. So I couldn't lie down without my heart beating. I couldn't walk too far without my heart beating. I thought I had a heart condition.
All right.
I couldn't drink coffee. I had to everything was horrible. And I was only 33 at the time. So I started taking magnesium. I felt better. Fast forward to, I just gave birth to my almost 3-year-old. And the birth was not that great. I had some anxiety issues. I ended up with postpartum anxiety. I stopped taking the magnesium I was taking because I think from the anxiety, it made my stomach start to act up, and I started to feel like a lump in my throat, like acid, reflux, GERD, whatever, gastritis, I'm not sure. And now I'm afraid to take it. So I want to try yours, but I don't know. I'm just so afraid I'm going to get that lump in my throat. It makes me feel like I can't breathe. And my doctor said it's gastritis because I actually had a endoscopy done. And I've been to the cardiologist, pulmonologist, I've been to all kinds of doctors, and I'm having all these crazy symptoms. I think a lot of it is anxiety, but I really need to get back on some magnesium, and I need to get back on some fast.
Right. Well, what we would do, Avis, is tell you to get our Remag and just spray it on your skin.
Really?
We're working on our Remag lotion. We had it for a number of years, and then somehow the formula changed. So you can put Remag on your skin, and that way it's not going to, affect your throat or anything. And as you feel better, then you'll be able to swallow it. But that's the way you can take it. That's the way we give it to infants, and it's absorbed fully through the skin. So that's how you do it.
There's nothing wrong with my throat per se. It's just the anxiety. It causes that
it's
feeling
a
of a lump in your throat.
Yeah, they have a name for it. It's called Globus Hystericus. Globus Hystericus, which is a horrible sounding thing, but it's where your throat kind of tightens up, and it feels like it's a lump. That it's the muscles in the throat just going into spasm, which is a magnesium deficiency symptom itself.
Yes.
So it's this vicious cycle. And yeah, some of those magnesiums, they'll, can be a bit of reflux with them, but with our Remag, it's just a straight magnesium. So it doesn't have any fillers or binders or anything. So you got it, you get the Remag liquid in a bottle, put it in a spray bottle, and just spray it on any part of your body.
If I wanted to take it orally, you think it would affect my stomach in any kind of way? Because I do have gastritis.
Well, what happens with Remag is it relaxes the stomach itself, relaxes the diaphragm, and the diaphragm muscles are what can go into spasm and cause the reflux. So in fact, we have a ton of people, our customers tell us that their reflux goes away when they're taking Remag. And what you do with it,
Really?
It's a powerful magnesium. So we just tell people to start with 1/4 of a teaspoon and work up to a couple of teaspoons. And 1/4 of a teaspoon, what is that? 75 milligrams. A whole teaspoon is 300 milligrams. And even with 1/4 we have some customers who'll write in and say, oh, I'm taking 1/4 teaspoon. I feel so much better. So even with that little bit, because it goes right into the cells and goes to work, it will help with sleep, with anxiety. Postpartum depression tends to be magnesium deficiency and also zinc deficiency. Zinc is used up with all the wounding that happens when you have a birth. So you can look into all these things. You can phone up our customer service and discuss everything and see what all you should be taking. But yeah, start with the Remag.
Okay, and it's safe. I have first-degree heart block, and I get PVCs. So is it safe to take with the Winky block?
The first-degree heart block, what some people say is magnesium slows the heart down, but it does not slow down a heart that's not already beating too fast. So what we know about magnesium is people need 300 to 600 milligrams a day. And if you look at your diet, you're lucky if you're getting 200 milligrams. So
lucky at that much,
yeah. So what we say with the Remag, it's like you're just getting your dietary amount of magnesium. It's not like a medication, in other words.
Right. Yeah, because I'm sitting here now with both of my eyelids twitching, muscle twitching everywhere. And I know, I don't know if it's from the anxiety or just me being deficient in magnesium. And also my vitamin D is at a level of 24.
Right,
I supplemented 3 months with a high dose of the D2, which is not the good one to take. So I probably need to pick up some of your vitamin D3 also.
Right. Yeah, because what makes vitamin D activated is magnesium. So, I mean, and the twitching, any sort of muscle or nerve twitching, it's magnesium deficiency unless they can prove it's something else. It's all the muscles and the nerves depend on magnesium.
Dr. Dean, what about the burning and numbness and tingling? And my vitamin B12 levels are good, so I don't think it's vitamin B12. Could that be
well, like I said,
deficiency?
the nerves depend on magnesium. So any sort of nerve tingling, burning is related to magnesium deficiency as well. I think in my Remag book, I probably have listed the 65 conditions that are related to magnesium deficiency. And I talk about all those symptoms. And I just found Googling first degree heart block does not usually require medical diagnosis. However, it's thought that the condition is the result of low potassium or low magnesium. So there.
I actually went to the emergency room a couple months ago, and my potassium, it wasn't crazy low, but it was low enough for them to give me a potassium pill.
Wow.
So, yeah. Okay.
And we have pico potassium as well. But yeah, you have a lot of good questions. You've done a lot of your own research, so you might benefit from talking to one of our customer service people. Every one of them is on the products. They know them personally. They're not going to give you medical advice, but just give you information and answer your questions.
Okay, great.
Okay. So
all right, thank you, Dr. Dean.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Start with the Remag and either spray it on or start with a quarter teaspoon. Okay. And you put that in a big glass of water and also start putting a pinch of sea salt in the water. When you get your first products, there'll be paperwork there that talks about hydrating yourself, getting enough liquids and all that important stuff as well. Okay.
And I'll get the same amount of magnesium from spraying it on my skin as if I was taking it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Perfect and awesome.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You're welcome, Avis. You too, hon. The worst is over.
Bye. Yes, I hope so. Gosh.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, hon. Thank you.
Bye.
I'm so excited for how good Avis is going to feel.
Yes.
I can already tell she's going to feel amazing because everything her stuff is simple. That's great. Yeah. Very,
I know.
very,
I mean, for her, it's like horrible and she's not getting the answer she needs in all her trips to the ER. But we know that it is a matter of getting back on a magnesium because she knows the magnesium helped her before, but then it started to reflux on her and she's been missing it. So when she takes Remag, it's so much cleaner. It'll be exactly what she needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Very exciting. Very exciting. Okay. Here's some comments from the chat line. Just wanted to, Alan said, it is a wonder to be without Afib and how blessed we are to have Dr. Dean. We have no idea how wonderful it is. And forget about those who don't know of the show and the product. So I said, we're going to track them all down and make them watch us next year. And then Patrick's very excited about our 16-ounce Pico Silver. So that's very fun. Thomas said, we can always Google you, but what do you recommend for arthritis? And what in your product portfolio should we take for migraine? So, of course, we know always to start with magnesium and then to cut out the calcium dairy part of for the arthritis. What else would you like to share, Carolyn?
Well, arthritis, since we've been using Pico Silver and people say it's helping their arthritis, we've been talking about that a bit more because in Chinese medicine, they say that in order to protect the internal organs from subclinical infections, the divergent meridians of the body direct the infection to the joints. So arthritis, which is an inflammation, anything that says itis is an inflammation. Where we can look at Pico Silver, we can look at Remag for inflammation as well. And if it's related to yeast overgrowth, like toxins that gravitate toward the joints, you can look at the yeast management. I think it was in my latest edition of the Magnesium Miracle. I finally talked about arthritis. I didn't talk about it much before, but you can call customer service and ask for, what I've written about arthritis. Migraines, hands down, magnesium deficiency is the main cause of migraine headaches. So you start with the Remag, and then you do look at allergens. Like Jenny was saying, well, it's sugar, wheat, and dairy, or sugar, gluten, and dairy are the three biggies that seem to affect people. But it's almost like, somebody will come to us, say, with Afib and say, what'll I do? And we tell them, and then all of a sudden, oh, my arthritis is better. No, I'm no longer getting those, migraines I used to have once a month. Or someone might come to us and say, I get migraines every day. And they'll start with the Remag and start taking some other formulas, and all kinds of other things clear up. So we just keep on telling people, try to take as many of the complement formulas as you can so that you'll improve the health of your whole body.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yesterday, I learned from you and Taylor as I watched your video, which we are preparing for public consumption, that selenium and zinc are so important too in the body, and that's in Remite. So we don't want to leave those out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For controlling inflammation. Yeah, very good. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else on the chat line before we press on. Okay, nope, let's press on.
Pressing on, more testimonials. Somebody here who is named Scott says, I've been using Dr. Dean's Remite, Pico Silver, Pico Potassium, Recalcium, Vitamin C, Reset Powder since August of 2020, so it's just over a year, and have benefited from them quite a bit. I've noticed I sleep better, feel better, have more energy, and Remag especially has helped me with ability to walk long distances, which I could not do for years. The Pico Silver has helped me with many nagging things like earwax issues, sinus issues, and more. Besides all that, I have also referred these fabulous products to 3 of my friends, and so far 2. I don't know if he didn't finish the sentence. When it comes to customer service and help, I have had several wonderful interactions with shipping and ordering staff, and ability to ask questions. I highly recommend any and all of Dr. Carolyn Dean's products found on her website. Get yours today. So Scott turns into an advert. But it's so funny for me when, I'll read this and say, all of Dr. Dean's products. I never thought I'd be a product seller. Seriously. I mean, it's so weird to me that here I have all these incredible formulas and they're helping people. It's awesome.
You're not a product
James
seller.
says, I began sleeping every night for 4 to 6 hours after suffering from insomnia for many years. I've taken many herbs and things for sleep, but nothing has worked like Remag. I've also tried other magnesium supplements before that didn't help. Also, I take between 3/4 and 1 teaspoon of Remag mixed with water and sip before bed. Wonderful product. So he probably takes some during the day and then an extra bit at night. And we tell people who have insomnia that that's what they can do. Terry says, I've been using the Total Body Defense Bundle consistently and noticed that I have more strength and stamina that lasts me all day. Brian says, this product works amazing. Now, I don't know if he's talking about Remag or not. Let's see. A month ago, I had restless legs at night that left me sleepless for about 2 weeks. In addition to the restless leg, I also had twitchy muscles that would keep waking me up. The experience was one of the worst I've ever had in my life. I finally started researching and saw that it was related to magnesium deficiency. Went to my doctor, requested blood work to be done. They wouldn't do it. So I decided to take matters in my own hands, started experimenting, came across this product. So it must be Remag after looking around, and it's been like night and day. After using it, I'm finally sleeping and getting some rest. I'm not totally all the way back, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I was before. So there we have Brian. Will I continue, Ginny? I guess so. So this is, those were all men from leftover testimonials from our men's week. So this is from the women's week. Can you please talk about when a young girl may start her period for the first time and what to expect? Well, girls start their period when they reach 100 pounds. So it's a weight, not an age, which is interesting. And unfortunately, if the diet is bad and they don't exercise, they can have very irregular periods. And then young girls are often put on the pill to, quote, regulate them. But what the pill does is just, it suppresses totally the whole menstrual cycle. It just stops it. It gives the body enough hormones to think that it's like has a mini pregnancy. So it's really inappropriate. And I think the birth control pill has led to infertility issues because of the suppression of the normal cycles. And she continues, how do minerals support the body even at that stage? Well, the minerals are important at the cellular level. They're important for making hormones and for balancing the body, for girls who get cramps, for example. Ginny just texted me that my volume had been down. So I don't know. How many words did you miss there, Ginny?
We didn't miss any words of yours, but you were missing something that I was saying.
Oh, you just banged your microphone against one of your puppy dogs, I think.
Did you, what I was saying was, Carolyn, I have never heard in my whole life that a woman's period starts at the weight of 100 pounds.
Well, it's true. And I have written about it in my, maybe not in, could have been in the women's health book, but yeah, that's true. That's why, young girls who are very overweight, they can start having their period when they're 8 and 9 years old because they're 100 pounds. So they have enough fat, and the fat then is the building block for making your estrogens.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. And then the opposite is where you have these young athletes who should be menstruating, and maybe they had been, but they exercise so much that they lose all their body fat, they drop their weight, and they stop their periods.
Right. That was the other thing. Or the really tall, skinny girls that have a hard time gaining weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I looked up every once in a while. I look up to see if I somehow my volume has gone. Shall I continue with a couple of more? I know we've only got a few more minutes. Maybe we should just stop now and say what's coming up in our world. What's coming up in our world, Ginny?
Well, one thing that's coming up, we are going to get the Remag lotion. I swear we are. We're going to get it in December this time, but I think we're going to have that between now and the end of the year. So that's exciting, in the 16-ounce Pico Silver. But what's really exciting is we are doing our Black Friday sale. I think everybody started Black Friday. Like, I got a note from Walmart like November 1st. It's Black Friday. I'm like, calm down, people. It is not. But that sale that you've been waiting for is coming. So we're going to have that for you. And what other good things we've got going on? We're going to have Renew back in stock, our vitamin D3, K2. Very good point by one of our earlier callers about the high dose vitamin D. We decided to pull it back a little bit. So I think this version is only about 3,500 IUs versus the 5,000. So it will be easier to add incrementally and not feel like you're getting too much when you're at that 10,000 mark and you want to go up a little bit more, that you'll be able to do that. So now 3 capsules is going to give you about 12,000 something. And I think that's going to be a little bit better for our customer base because they were a little concerned with that 5,000. So we're going to try this one, see how you guys like it. And I think that's about it, Carolyn. We're just busy. We're going to do the new show next year. Got to figure that out. And the Black Friday. Go ahead.
Our show video. I mean, here I am sort of pulling on my hair and, checking, Googling and everything. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm not going to be just a face sitting there talking. I'm busy.
Well, you are, and you will be. And I think that's the thing that's going to be fun is everybody will be able to see how really busy you are because you're always doing your research. You're looking at everything. You're looking at your past show notes and reflecting on things that you've talked to other people about. So I'm typing the words. It's like I'm not looking at the camera. So anyway, the Remag lotion, okay, we're getting it, but are we going to be able to dump it right on the store right away? We won't. Well, now let me be clear. The Black Friday sale starts next Monday, not tonight. So I want to be clear about that. So it'll be the 22nd. I don't know now about where we are with the Rachel, would you come in and just talk to me really quick? Because she's texting me, telling me things. Rachel, what are you saying? The Remag lotion, we'll get it in and get it out as quickly as we can, but it won't be in time for the Black Friday sale. That's for sure. Okay. I don't know if she's going to be able to come in. We've run out of time, but we'll be back next week and we'll sort everything out. In the meantime, we have your front and your back, and Dr. Dean's got everything else you need.
You just wouldn't let me, but yeah, I was just noticing the website says it's on sale, but when you go to the actual checkout, it's not on sale. So there's a little glitch on the computer. Great show tonight. I loved it, but I better shut up because it's time to show the end. Bye.
Thanks. Thank you, Rachel, our most famous producer. Okay, Ginny, great show. Thank you. Awesome. Aloha, everybody.
Aloha. Good night, everyone.
listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.